hello! How about some clapping for the start of the stream? How is everyone doing today? I'm doing well. So, we are going to finally get back to building the Railcore. Now, 100% honest here. I'm not super excited about getting back to this. I think the hard part is over. Well, I mean, kind of. The hard part's over. The panels are on, and you will see more of this in a little bit. I did my best to try to set up a camera situation, because the only way I'm going to be able to work on some of this is if it's setting on the floor. Because it's really only about 10 inches or so shorter than this table. So you'll get a view of that. So last time where we left it, there was an error at PrintedSolid on the tall version of the Railcore only, where in one of the CNC files or something, and some of the holes didn't get cut correctly. That's why I couldn't line them up. So I had to wait for those panels. We did three streams previously. The last one I figured out the panels didn't line up, so I had to wait on new panels. And then after that, there was a whole bunch of other projects that I had to get done, so I did not get back to Railcore. But the panels are all on. They all fit. Fitting the panels was not the easiest thing in the world to do. It took me a little bit to get it right, but they are on. Again, you'll see that in a little bit. Now we're ready to start building the X and Y and the idlers and putting the motors on, all that good stuff. So we're going to stream for a couple hours today. I will be streaming a couple of days in a row. I want to try to get caught up on this build as much as I can. So I have taken FTO at work, so I will be streaming Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday, trying to get caught up on this build. So if everybody has free time, please join me for this build. I see there is a ton of people in chat. Hello to everyone, just the people I see right now. I got John, Travis Stamper, Mike at Never Let the Machines Win, Freddie, Not G10, Thomas, the 3D Print Viking, Dan, Chris Travis, Tim Frankie, Mr. Maker, John Strand, Pete Walker, whole bunch of people in here. Justin T's here, Clint. I can't get to it all, but welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining me as we build this thing. I'm going to do my best to try to show you what I'm doing as we do it, and follow along with the manual. And let's just see how it goes. Another fun-filled 3D printing stream in the basement. So a lot of this is going to be somewhat small work. The next thing that I'm going to do is build the shoulder bolts that hold the idlers and the tooth pulleys for the Core XY system. It's a lot of stacking washers and things. It's not going to be super interesting, but I should be able to do it relatively easily while I chat with some of you. Now, it is important to remember, if you are watching this for some sort of reference at some point later, this is the PrintedSolid kit. It is the tall kit, the ZLT, and that kit, if you buy it, comes with a lot of the upgraded aluminum parts, which these are super nice, by the way. You get motor brackets, the idler brackets. A lot of this stuff is 3D printed on the other kits. These are all CNC aluminum parts. So, pretty cool. So if you're building the regular kit, or you don't get it necessarily from PrintedSolid, you might not have these parts. You might have the printed parts. Just throwing that out there. It is also important to note, they have changed over. Sir Gussie, thank you very much for the 2. Hello, thanks for joining the stream. So Project Red, or whoever throws these kits together and makes these decisions, They have went with the shims. I don't know how well you can see that. It's hard for me to look at the directions and OBS at the same time. But they've gone with these. I know it's really blurry. But they've gone with these shims instead of just using washers, so they don't interfere with the bearings, which are nice. But the 5mm shim, they're a super tight fit, so you kind of have to almost put those on there with pliers. But on the other side of it, they're kind of a pain, but they won't move around on you near as bad as a washer or something would, and it won't interfere with that bearing. So that's part of what I'm doing today that's going to be somewhat difficult. And they have to be just so, or belts and all that stuff they're not going to line up. So that's what I'm doing right now. What's everyone else doing today? Happy Sunday to everyone that's roughly around my time zone. Jerry from 3D Printing and Painting is here. What's up? Mr. Butchram is here. Hello, Ryan. It's a pain you only experience once. Jason, thanks for joining the stream, but well put. Well put. By all rights, somebody's mentioning that shims are flatter. By all rights, the shims should actually be measurable to some degree. 250 micron or whatever they might be. I don't know exactly, but they should be somewhat precise. Calling themselves a shim and all. Chilling on the couch. Okay. So we are building the, which one first? These also have some shims that go around the linear rail. That might be kind of interesting to put in there. This is the back. We're building the back one. So it has a smooth idler on the top, then another shim. Yes, it is just fisheye from that camera. Shim, then a toothed idler. I thought it was kind of cool as well. So these are that you can 3D print a spacer for the front idler, but they also gave you just an extra tooth pulley to use. You're not going to put a belt on it. You can just use it as the spacer, which I think is a much better, I mean, it's a little more expensive, but a much better solution than having a 3D printed spacer. So that's kind of nice. I almost have to, I can't get those to go on quite with my fingernails. I almost have to put them on with pliers. So there's that. So these are on 25mm shoulder bolts. There are 25s and 20s. I think that's the difference. Yeah, 25s and 20s. I'm guessing the ones in back are going to be the 25s. I'm just gonna thread this in here just to see how it fits. There's quite a bit of gap that you could actually see. So there might be some more shims in the future for that one. Unless, let's find the front idler part real quick and compare before we put everything together. It calls for 20s, but let's just have a look at it, shall we? So it's the same thing, just regular threads. Alright, so we're going to go with that. We're going to go with the longer one, and we will re-shim it if we have to. Marlin configuration for your CNC. Dan, thank you very much for the 3. Much appreciated. Thanks for joining the stream as well. I know I'm missing a lot in chat, and I apologize for that. I'm going to try to focus on this. Yes, Joshua, you are correct. That camera. So I use all webcams because it's just functional for me to use them that way, rather than use regular cameras. And that one in front, definitely, the angle that it's at and how far it is away from me definitely makes things look a little skewed from time to time. This is not the only build that I'm currently working on, actually. I've got a couple in flight all at once. But this is definitely one that I've been needing to get back to. I want to see it print. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is going to be somewhat of an interesting setup. I use the word interesting replacing difficult. Opportunities, not problems, right? But it's so it's got the DuX. It's a Duet Wi-Fi 2, but it's got the DuX breakout board on it, and it has 3 Z steppers that are going to kind of do an auto leveling deal. So that'll be a little bit interesting to set up. So we'll probably have one whole day just sitting around watching me mess up firmware configurations. That'll be a good time, won't it? All right, so I'm gonna leave that now and continue building this one. So what did we decide? Highlight times hay and stack. Front. This one is the back one with the smooth idler on top. Firmware can be tricky. Marlin Me and Marlin get along okay, but once in a while I still get a little befuddled on my riprap configuration file. And I think the biggest problem is I get Marlin and riprap confused. So I'll think my command is correct, but it was actually for Marlin, and it didn't work so well in riprap. I'm getting better at it since I've had the go around with tool changer and all that good stuff, but still not as polished as my Marlin skills. I doubt that they will ever be, unless, you know, I just stop using Marlin altogether, which I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. I need a 16. I tried to even organize my hardware a little bit here. Be too bad if those were the same. I had to get some wrenches. Maybe you just enjoy suffering. Thanks for joining the stream, Dave. It's I also like messing with the firmware. I like messing with Marlin and stuff. It's not that much fun to do it live, however. It seems like, you know, and I know you all are very, very patient, but it seems like you're not seeing anything, you know, worthwhile while I'm making tweak after tweak and restarting and seeing what happens. Doesn't seem like it's a very, very good show. Which I don't know that, you know, me putting things together is really all that awesome of a show, but it feels like I'm actually doing something. Firmware, it does not. And there is a round spacer. Kazatan85, thank you for the sub. It's really challenging, some of these names. And that just goes up against that rail. So those are just going to have to be slid in as I build. So there's the back one. And the front one is flip-flopped, I would guess. It is Core XY. Yes. Shows us what not to do. Well, I'm glad to be here for you. Don't do that. And 10% crying. Absolutely. Fair enough. Where's the other? There it is. Building these printers, you know, while we're talking about live streaming, building the printers, going through the instructions page by page, figure after figure, you know, like you would, like any of us would, building anything, right? That's one thing in itself. Now, I have built quite a few 3D printers, as you've seen over the years. But when you're doing it live stream and you're talking to chat and, you know, trying to keep a couple of trains of thought going at once, for me anyway, it's like a forest through the trees kind of thing. I get to looking at the diagram, you know, while talking to chat, putting parts together, trying to complete that step, but then I get disconnected about what it should actually look like at the end. So I'm so focused on getting that one task done, the part where I would usually step back and take a look at it kind of goes out the window while live streaming. If I wasn't live streaming, I'd probably, you know, just look at it. You know, like, wait a second, how does this actually work? think about it rather than trusting the directions. But I get lost sometimes like that while streaming. So that's why you'll see me stammer quite a bit. Not that I'm the greatest builder in the world, but sometimes I get just a bit confused because I can't see it for what it is, right? Working another 10%. All right, what do we have? 10. Railcore is this is a pretty long-winded build, I would say. Probably the biggest one that I've ever done, I would guess. I don't know. There's been a few really large ones. SK Go was a fairly long build. FT6 was pretty long. I think it took 3 days to get that one together. Tool Changer took a minute, but a lot of that was firmware tweaking. The mechanics and everything went together really fast. A lot of that too, the Tool Changer was rinse and repeat building, right? Four different tools and all that good stuff. So that took a minute. But it all gives me an excuse to live stream and hang out with you folks. And my buddies, I will mention this probably a couple times during the stream, my buddies Glenn and James are going to be streaming at 4 Eastern today. And I'm going to do my best not to step on their stream time, because we've got all week. So no need to rush it. Okay, now we fit it on the rail. Let's get our Well, I get this attractive. I actually talked with 3D Maker Kid about this the other day in chat. Oh yeah, Railcore is definitely bigger than Tool Changer in some aspects. That one doesn't lead itself to being that smooth. Just a little hard time getting going. There's probably a burr or something in there. What was I talking about? I don't remember. Oh, subtractive module. First look, I watched the video, I looked at it. Dan, thank you very much for the $1. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining the stream. I don't know. I'm one of these people. I mean, like, yeah, we could get it and play around with it, but then what are we gonna do? I'm not sure yet. I guess if I had a project to use it, I'm just not sure how well that is going to integrate into that ecosystem. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's kind of a cool little router deal, that you can put on your tool changer. I mean, that's a neat thing, but I'm not sure going back and routing out your 3D prints, I'm not sure where that would be helpful. I'm sure that they have, all kinds of ideas for it, and they've tested it in different scenarios. I just can't think of one in my shop. I guess on this one, I don't actually have to screw it down to anything, do I? Well, this one's encapsulated. It can slide around and do its thing. I don't care so much about that. I don't want to lose this shim though. That is a good idea. Usually you have to put a bunch of screws in these. Sure, these will have to be adjusted, so we're not going to get crazy with tightening them at the moment. Captain Action Pants. Best name of the day so far. Thank you for the sub. Action Pants. That is quite the name. A smooth bore for a perfectly sized fit. Oh, okay, I understand that then. I don't know. I guess it also kind of depends on what material you're intending to print, right? Yes, so today we will be building the mechanics for the top end. So all the idlers, the XY rail that goes across the top, and we'll put the motors on, and that's probably about all we'll get to today. We'll see how it goes, but Carl, yes, I did get the side panel sorted out. Dave sent me a new set, and we are good to go. They were quite challenging to put on, I have to say. That was my least favorite part, definitely. But we did get it all sorted out, and you'll see those here shortly. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Move this shim just a touch. Okay. Okay, so here's where my new action shot is going to come in here for you all. We'll see how this works. I just threw this together right before I started the stream. So we'll see how this is going to go. I'm going to move it right here, right in the way of everything. You'll get to see all of my floor leavings and good stuff like that. So there's the top of the printer, so this is the front. But yeah, all the panels are on. All the Z hardware and everything's still loose in there because they're going to have to be adjusted right up against that lead screw. The motor comes to the bottom. I probably won't tackle that today. Maybe that will be tomorrow's section of the build. Yeah, I'm sure that all of that will have to come. There will be a very large amount of adjusting. You're welcome for the configs. I'm glad they're working. John from You Do It is here. What's up? Yep, 600. This is going to be really interesting. I'm about to find some really large stuff to print. Okay, so now we've moved to our new camera angle, and it's right in the way of everything I'm doing. So I know I'm doing it right. So we're just going to. This tape is getting very saturated with rail oil. Probably a good idea to replace it anyway. We'll pull that off for now. So I think it will be easier for me to work on if I spin it like this, maybe. Let's try that. And then this rail will set on those two blocks, like that. Okay. I do have feet. I use them all the time. I use them all the time. I need to come up with another area of the basement for working on large things. That's one of the biggest reasons why I never reviewed the FT6. I don't know where I'd do that at. It's two of them. I realize that I'm going to have to push this down just a bit, and that's not going to work for printing power, but again, all this is going to have to be adjusted. We're just going to get it assembled. Remember that whole Future Chris conversation we had last time? It's always his problem. I don't want to get too crazy with tightening anything or anything good like that. We don't want to break nothing. It's also really hard to look at chat when you're working downward. There we go. That stressed it out a lot less. Now I'm comfortable. See you later, Joshua. No pants. I wouldn't do that to you. I'll try to limit the amount of crotch shots for you all today. You guys crack me up. So, Mr. Randolph, I know that you can't just take a day off. So, what fabulous things are you working on at PrintedSolid today? Are you making us beautiful filaments? Kevin Schofield comes in. Hey, Kevin, what's up? But he is correct. Joel goes straight for the crotch shots. Need to get fluorescent brown? That doesn't sound like a good color at all. Okay. This one I couldn't get it to back out very much. There we go. Let's divide that up just a bit. At least we'll be somewhat centered on both holders for adjustments later. Because we're going to have to do, you know, squareness, left, rights, all that good stuff, but we're kind of far away from that. So let's just leave it here for now. But my intention is to get a lot of this done by the middle of this coming week. So we'll see how it goes. Don't want to mess around with that too much as of right now, but we'll let that go. I am going to go ahead and put another piece of tape on that, just by miraculously that frees and falls off those rails. This would save me some headache. Ron, the Happy Extruder, is here. What's up, Ron? Good to see you. Yes, the army of hardware. It reminds me of my first 3D printer kit. This is 3D printer tape that I get with kits. I never run out. Hey, Bill, what's up? Angel's here. Dave Wilson's here. Dave Wilson has a really cool Omnia drop extruder setup for an Ender 5. He does have a YouTube channel. Max over at Drop Effect shared it out the other day on Twitter. It's a pretty nice setup. So if you're an Ender 5 enthusiast, you might check that out. Okay, so now we need some stepper motors, and we're going to put on our... These are all M3x10s, so that's cool. We're going to put on the top motors on the brackets, and then we'll do the front idlers. And the motors go on the same side as the electronics do. Yes, they do. Okay, where are the motors at? That's not heavy enough to be motors. Where'd I put them? I guess I have to dig all this out at one time or another. I thought they were right on top. No, there was another pile of boxes. That's it. This is it. Here. Yeah. Here's what I'm looking for. I think all of these are the same except this pancake. We might as well go ahead and throw it out here. That's a 1/8. So he's using 9s on the Z. That's a 1/8. That's a 1/8. So he must be using 1/8 on the Z and 9s on the X and Y. That makes sense. Fireman68, thank you for the sub. What's up, Paul? Martin for 3DP Iceland, what's up? Okay. We need aluminum, these brackets here. And what do you say, 10s? 10s. Tens are going to be too long for that. We have a ton of 8s. We do. 10s are probably for the printed part. Eights will work just fine. And it's good to see that these have, that one's dead to me. It's good to see that these have adjustment holes so that you can tension it a lot easier. That is super helpful on Core XY. Jeff Bowen is here. I always want to call him Jeff Bowden because 3D printing is taking over my brain. Yeah, Martin, I heard you were not feeling so good. Hopefully you're on the mend. I have to watch your videos to know what's in the maker box. So I'm guessing all these extra M3 nuts are what I'm attaching to. Hopefully there's enough extra for the aluminum part. I don't really remember. It says it right there. Use 10s for the frame and 8s for the stepper. So we're good there. See you later, Ron. Thanks for stopping by the stream. I still don't like tens. They're too long for that extrusion. Hopefully we have enough 8s. Greg thinks it needs a few more stepper motors. You can't have enough stepper motors. I can already tell this is going to be one of my finest wire management jobs ever. You know, where I just throw it all on there and then wrap tape around the extra. That drives everyone crazy. Sergio's here. What's up, Sergio? All right. Just remember, use duct tape. That is a great piece of advice. Plus, it's shiny and makes things look cool. And makes it 10% faster. Your mileage may vary. This channel is not sponsored by duct tape or any of its subsidiaries. All rights reserved. Martin is correct. With these brackets, we should not break and send the stepper motor flying and pieces of acrylic into my face. And I always appreciate no shards of plastic coming at my face. Alright, so those are on there for now. We'll tighten them up later. You can't see any of that. Somebody was probably telling me that, and I wasn't paying attention. See? Motors. There they are. But now we're going to move to the front portion. These are very easy to get cross-threaded. I wonder if I have another idler to use. There was a tip in here somewhere that said something about not using the printed spacer. Replace the washers in these steps with shims. Instead of the printed spacer, you can use a spare idler as a spacer to make things align easier. Let's take a look at the printed spacer real quick, just to see how tall they actually are. Magnus is here. What's up? So is Cliff. Hey, Cliff. They do look familiar, don't they? RGB, definitely. We need a full disco going on in this printer. And then we don't get any extras, so we've got 2 and 2. We need just like a milled aluminum one. That would be pretty cool. But do I have any 5mm that I would much prefer them being smashed onto another idler than a printed part. I don't know if those are 4s or 5s. We're going to find out. Not A-net flames. Poor A-net. You burned one guy's house down. You're never going to live it down. That's a joke, by the way. Two to 3 shims, and then the printed spacer. 3 to 4 shims. Well, let's just see how it's going to fit, shall we? What side? Oh, they're all toothed. It doesn't matter. Old Curmudgeon is here. What's up? So is Carl Brown. Pete Walker's here. Ten paradiddles and 20 flame taps. Peter, you are very correct. I would never hang a symbol like that, especially on a metal screw. But all of those have chunks out of them. They really don't function so much as a symbol anymore. I get questions about those all the time. There's actually a third one over there hidden by that shell. But yes, those symbols are probably 20 years old. They all have a chunk of metal taken out of them from my drumming practices. Pop, what's up? Good afternoon. Glad you're here. What step am I on? Are these numbered? I'm on the front idler step. I'm on page 57 if you have the manual. I'm putting on the front idlers. Or, I guess it's not really front. Left idlers. And let's just see how our smooth idler is going to space this out. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Where's our... I like that. That's pretty nice. So let's go with that. This one doesn't like me. Yes, the printed spacer. I'd much rather just have a idler setting on there than that printed part. Especially given all the other aluminum pieces that are on this printer already. If I had a lot more printed parts, I wouldn't care so much. But this shim doesn't like me at all. They've all been pretty good till now. Hmm. It's little stuff like this that always get you hung up. Well. Well, it'll hold tight anyway. Just got your linear rails. Awesome. I should be getting a handful of parts tomorrow. Hopefully all of my exoslide stuff comes tomorrow for the 2020 build that we're in the middle of doing. So I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to fit that next stream in, but I'm going to hopefully do that in the next day or two. So we might end up with, depending on what I get fed up with first, we might end up with a couple of streams. We will see. All right. Duo's here. Yep, finally back to it. Oh, I got another one of these put on. More shims. I was a little bit too that they're so tight. In fact, I thought they were the wrong size. And there's got to be an easier way of putting these on. But I'm almost done now, so. Might need 4. That might be a good way of doing it. This one is so, the front ones, or whatever you want to call them, the lower ones are so short, it's going to be really hard to do that. I think my computer thinks it's too hot down here. It has the fan has kind of a quacking noise. When the AC shuts off, I can hear it barely. I know this is thrilling to watch. How many did I end up with? 3 or 4? You really won't know how these line up until you get everything assembled. We're going to go with that. It looks decent. It might need one more though, honestly. Alright, one more round. Dave is riveted. Thank you. It's like a soccer match in here. He's going for the shoulder bolt. Is that a 4mm? No, 5mm. Having trouble with the shims. It's gonna be a close one. I always wanted to narrate other people's streams. I thought that would be a lot more fun than streaming. There's probably no chance that I'd save that one. That's also a problem with these shims, is once they're gone, they are gone. Crunch. One. No sports, no new movies. Well, I never thought about that. I should be streaming even more. I could have my own TV show. Nothing else on. One and a half. Two. Last one. The nice part is, though, if I want to go back, if I need to shim these up just a little bit more, the shims are being close to the bearing is what the important part is, and that has taken place on all of them. The bearing is actually touching a shim. So that keeps it turning freely. But now if I have to go back on the other side of the shim, if I want to add some more space, I've got lots of 5mm washers, and they will do the trick just fine. And you definitely want this belt path to be as even as possible across all of your motors, all that good stuff. Oh, which reminds me, I did not put my tooth pulleys on my motors. We can do that too. Napping. I knew you were going to show up because I was talking about wire management, how I was just going to use duct tape to just tape it around the whole outside just so it stays put. I haven't really broke anything yet today, but if it quacks, it ain't good. There was one I said the other day that I thought, hey, that would be a great shirt. I don't intend to say these things because of that. This is just me. But what was it? I was talking about filament or something. And oh yeah, this stuff is kinda not good. That's one of my new phrases. This stuff is kinda not good. Intentionally crippled to make it hard to modify. Well, I don't know if it's intentional. I'm not going to go that far. But I will agree with you that there's a lot of different things in there that are being included from other files and such, and they leave a lot of the stock stuff in there, which doesn't do anything. And they've ripped a ton of stuff out that they don't need, right? To be able to get down to do all the same stuff that they do. I know Carl was talking about using that on that belt printer. I just don't know that it's going to be possible. I really don't know. I don't know how much is left in there that you could use. But I guess Carl will find out. Okay, so how's our new camera view look right at the moment? Not terrible. A little wonky. Dave Avery's here. What's up? Yeah, snapping. A lot of people have been telling me about that. I have not had a chance to test it, but yeah, I heard people are running riprap on there, so I'm definitely going to give it a try. I don't know when, but it is on the list of things to do. Somebody else said something too. Oh, Dave, about the subtractive. We talked about that a little bit earlier, which is no big deal, but I think it's a pretty cool idea. But I was telling everybody here, I'm just not sure how I would use it. Maybe there's a need for that. Dave Randolph was saying, you could 3D print something and then go back with an actual router bit and that was, actual size and cut a perfect hole that way. And so I guess I get things like that. But I also mentioned before, I think it's going to depend a lot on the type of filament you use and things like that. I mean, I can't really see somebody doing PLA parts and then cutting them with that thing and having that be to their advantage. Maybe, I don't know. Kind of curious what it's going to cost. Looks good. I can finally understand. Well, cool. I'm glad you got it working. Uh, if I run into issues, I'll have to send you an email because I haven't even looked at it. I don't. Somebody sent me a guide that somebody came up with on how to do it, and I said, "Well, that's really cool," and that was as far as I got. So it's on the list. I'll get to it maybe someday. This summer is completely full of printer builds. This one's going to be kind of tricky and not get in the way. Maybe. I might have to spin this. I can't see what's going on. Well, that was my next question. What kind of environments are you going to have to run that thing in? Because it will be. I mean, the tool changer's kind of already a mess. Uh, you're going to have to be kind of set up to do that. We'll see. Okay, so those are on. I think the next is you put the carriage there for your hot end, extruder, whatever combo thing. I think I will run out of 8mm screws. Well, that was kind of my first thought. Greg's talking about PLA wrapped around a router bit. It's not going to take very long for that thing to get way too hot to cut that type of plastic. I mean, I could see maybe even like CFPETG or I guess maybe ABS, but I don't know. Havort? All right. The more tools you see, the better, in my opinion. I mean, that's what it's there for, right? So I'm down with that. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I just don't know how I would use it, but that's not saying much. So let's just put it this way. I don't think I will be testing it. Could do it maybe. See, now you need a cutting fluid system, water circulation or something. True. A router for circuit boards would be pretty cool. A 3D printer that knows how to make mixed drinks. Now we're talking about something that I could totally design. DrinkBot 9000. Now we're talking about BL Touch. This thing did come with a BL Touch. If you watch my channel, I'm not the biggest fan of BL Touch, to tell you the truth. Those... This one over here needs to be swapped. The shorter one should have been on the outside. I just happened to look up and see that. Not that that's that big a deal, but why not? I know. I would rather do the pin to probe. I'm not exactly sure what mount. I guess it comes with a BL Touch mount because it came with a BL Touch sensor. I guess we could go ahead and start with that. But I have a feeling I will switch to an inductive probe at some point. I have a spring steel sheet. Do we have sheets for this one? Yeah, right? We got sheets for this one. If we don't, we will have. I got a steel sheet. It doesn't really matter. I do get a lot of questions on setting up BL Touch on Duet, so maybe that's the process we should go through. Maybe we'll learn something. I have done it a couple of times, but if I remember the last time I did it, it wasn't super straightforward. Let's just see what we got. Okay. The easiest to attach the BL Touch mount before installing the BL Touch mount on the printer. Oh, they're using, let's see what kind of printed parts we got here. That looks like a wind mouth. So that is the BL Touch mount. No. And we got the BMG on this one. This is the extruder mount portion. This is the BL Touch mount. You know what? This calls for a couple of inserts. And I put those inserts somewhere. And I was looking for them the other day. And I don't think I ever found them. Does anybody know where an insert would be? See you later, Carl. He's the boss. I just kick out trolls. Yeah, you can post a link. I think it's going to now you can post a link. So what do we decide? I don't even know where I'm at the moment. BL Touch. I guess we'll run with that for the beginning, and then maybe we'll switch it up a little bit later. But I have to find some inserts for spacers. That's where I was going with that. Because I just had a handful of inserts left. I don't know if maybe I tossed them in my bin over here. But I thought I like had a bunch of other inserts in a package. And I threw them in a drawer or something. You know, I was trying to, clean up things. And bad things happened as usual. There's just like too big of an area in my way. Brass inserts of spacers. What is that? a short piece of belt. Makes a nice vibration dampener. Interesting. Is there anything pertinent in chat? You have some right here. 3mm would be good. I just need 2. If I can bum 2 off you, that'd be great. I need some coffee anyway. How about a short break? I will find some inserts, grab some coffee, and then come right back. What time's it getting to be? I really don't want to run over into fun playtime too. Oh, it's only 1 o'clock. We got plenty of time. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and work for another hour and a half or so and see what we can get done. So let's do one of I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I had to change to my other arsenal of elevator music. Uh, uh, Thank you very much for the 5 3D obsession. It'll probably come up and say it, but I just think it's kind of funny. I'm glad you guys get the joke. It's just kind of funny to me. That's all. I found another one that I really liked the other day. I'm gonna have to. I haven't downloaded it yet, but so occasionally some people will send me elevator music and like, hey, you should use this because this one's really annoying. I'll have to get that one added to my list. Oh, I found my standoffs, or not standoffs. What are they? Eyelets. Brass inserts. I knew you were worried. Oh god, the baby shark's down. I won't do that to you. Promise. We're putting together our BL touch mount. Hopefully. Stream Beats. I know that there was a service out there. I've never looked into it. I never really fancy myself much of a streamer. I like to stream builds and things, but you know, fancy stuff really isn't my thing. Yeah, Beats. No, I am not a streamer like Dan is. Dan and those fellas. They're pros. I have a wrench for this. Where is it? I need to 3D print a better socket holder. I have one, but I need one that's just like a tray for deep wells and for the shorties. I have one, but it's the socketed type, and you know how 3D prints go. What is that? I mean, it worked okay for a little while, but it got kind of loose over time. It doesn't hold them as well as it should anymore. Okay. Attach Y and stop mount. I'll give this thoughts to the chat. What are your thoughts about me just going straight with centerless homing rather than putting on the end stops? What do you think? Absolutely. Thanks, Nathan, for that vote of confidence. Do absolutely nothing for 2 hours and still look busy. Motorhead Mitch, 3D printing Undertaker. Feels that way sometimes. I just run around and look for parts that I can't find. That's kind of my whole thing. Centerless home. Jason says don't do it. Tristan says do it. Mark Jones, welcome to the stream. I do remember that, and there's a story to go along with that, but I don't want to tell it right now. What would Chris Riley do? I have a Duet 2 Wi-Fi board that works pretty well with centerless homing, and that's really personally, that's my biggest advantage related to centerless homing, is I don't have to run the in-stops. And that would save us a lot of work if I didn't have to do that. Now, we could always go back and do it later, but I'm pretty confident that I could get centerless homing to work on Core XY on a Duet board, and we wouldn't need it. So that's my thought. I think I would personally like to go with centerless homing. Okay, so what is it telling us about the extruder mount and the BL touch mount and the IR sensor? I think we're just getting it ready to go on. Y end stop for BMG mounts. Ah, that's the groove mount. What, which extruder did I get? So I went with the, I'm going to build this here in a second. So now we need to figure out some stuff real quick. Duet. Let's figure out something real quick. Okay, so I went with the Mosquito hot end route instead of the groove mount, but I'm not sure. I think they just gave me a groove mount extruder. I don't really need it. I know what that looks like. I think they just gave me a groove mount extruder with an adapter. Let's find out. Because they make one of these that bolts down directly to a Mosquito hot end. That's why I'm looking. Yes, this is a groove mount extruder. Okay. So that would make the Mosquito officially just mount up like a V6. So what does my groove mount adapter look like? There's the BMG plate. There's the fan. There's my adapter. I'm going to say Mosquito is groove mounted still. Okay, that's all I needed to know. So there is the mount for the BMG. I'm not quite sure what that is. This is the fan. I don't see anything in here that looks like what I would expect it to look like. Also, I'm pretty sure that I have just ran out of M3 by 8mm screws. Is there any chance that we could sub tins in for some of these parts? Because I think you would have to have a whole lot more 8s if you have the aluminum part set. Now, these are just inserts. Let's just see how it feels about a 10mm screw. I don't want to break the part, that's for sure. Mark Jones, I did not see your question. How is the Snappy doing? I don't know about that. The Snappy is okay. So what happened with the Snappy is those of you that don't know, the Snappy is the extremely 3D printed 3D printer. It's kind of a monstrosity. I printed one and I got it working, and then the idea was to print another Snappy on that Snappy, and I'm actually doing pretty well. I've got most of the parts printed, but there was a few that the SCAD file was corrupt, and all those parts that were corrupt I have to modify by hand. So that's really slowed me down. I would love a handful. Well, at least on this section, the tins are working okay. The Snappy did not snap. Snappy's still working. Wait a second. The motor should be, but it's got the tabs on the other side. Checking. That can't work that way. There's a lot of parts. The Snappy it isn't the greatest 3D printer in the world, of course, but it is kind of a fun build to, print that many parts. There's so much printing. If you really enjoy 3D printing, this is the build for you. How much clearance do I need for this? Gotten some progress made today, though. Pretty happy with that. It's not as clean as you might think it is. It got washed not too long ago. I don't think it's been washed since the last stream. At least I'm dropping screws inside the printer chamber. I can fish them back out easily. If they hit the floor, they're never coming back. It's the distortion makes it look clean, that's right. It's TV clean. Is YouTube my full-time job? Not even close. It is a full-time job, but it is just one of my full-time jobs. It can be a full-time job, but no, I have another job. I have a day job. And I don't think YouTube will ever be my full-time job. I don't think that's ever going to happen. So just based on prior knowledge, these have a groove mount listed in the directions, but I'm pretty comfortable with just the Bondtech mount with that adapter. I don't know that a plastic groove mount would actually give you that much extra support. There wouldn't, I mean, even if it was a V6, I guess it could kind of set inside there, but there's not going to be enough room for, a groove mount of any kind anyway. I'm going to put a Mosquito on this for now, but you know how that goes. It might change at some point. You never know. They really cram these in here. The short Bowden and Mosquito are tricky for some reason. Ooh, this one's black. Nice. Yeah, we'll give it a whirl. I got a copperhead too that I'm really anxious to try, so we'll start out here and see where we go. It's pretty modular though, so that's good. I wonder what is causing the jam though. Yeah, Jim, those, I agree, the screw top V6s, those are pretty nice. They did start making those a couple of years ago. You really haven't seen that many, but yeah, they are pretty nice. "3D printing llama is the cause of all your jams." The short Bowden tube. Is there a way to make it longer, or should you not make it longer? These are all real questions. I'm not fishing for anything. Or are you talking about some sort of tube? I guess I don't know much about your config, so I'm blindly asking questions that I probably shouldn't ask. Oh yeah, I forgot it. That's right, the Duet Smart Effector. Or are you talking about like feeding the top of the hot end? Copperhead would be a good choice. Yeah, I got one of those sitting around here somewhere. So let's see how this fits real quick. Pretty snug. Aha, gotcha. I'm sure it will become more apparent at some point. Yes, it is a Railcore ZLT. This is the kit from PrintedSolid. Here's my pancake zipper. Where is my drive gear? Here it is. Whew, got lucky on that one. I don't have a dragon hot end. If I remember correctly, don't these mount backwards? It's been a second or two since I put together one of these. Pretty sure they do mount backwards with the splines going in. You want to see a drumming stream? I actually stacked my drum set not too long ago. That was kind of depressing. I had it set up forever. I just don't play it. 5mm gap. That sounds right. We're just going to see how this sets on here. I have some questions about this. Okay. It's one of those things you're just going to have to see to figure out. So we might do this a couple of times. So that was my first question. How is that going to set in there like that? So it does set pretty well. I think I want the heater up front. I just want to see how this is going to fit. Because I think you could make this work. Just saying. I've pretty much accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish for today, so now we're just kind of messing around. 3D Maker Kid, what's up, man? Fusion runs so much better. 3 gigahertz. I'll bet it does. It's not really sitting on there all that good. Yeah. That would take some rework, but I don't know. I like the idea, though. But you're right, Steven. I don't know about that. I just wanted to look. That's okay. All right. So we've gotten quite a bit of stuff done today. I really didn't. I guess I underestimated myself. I really didn't think I'd get that much done. That's gonna fall apart today on this stream. But we got a lot more done than I thought we would. So I guess that's good. We have made progress. We're well on our way. We have a lot of work left to do, but it could happen. So anyway, let's see what time it is. 1:40, almost 2 o'clock. What do we do? A couple hours today? Uh, 2 hours and 10 minutes, not too bad. So let's leave it there for today. We got some stuff done. Next, we're gonna work on the extruder, the hot end, get all that set up. We still got a lot of parts on this table, friends. Hammer time. Yeah, but we're gonna work on this week. So I do plan on having a stream Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon sometime. So if you are available, come hang out with me. We're going to get a lot of progress done on the Railcore this week. Maybe we'll be on the firmware by Wednesday. That'd be good, but we'll see how it pans out. Thank you for everybody that hung out with me today. Don't forget to go check out Fun Playtime at 4 o'clock Eastern on the Fun King 3D channel. Go hang out with those guys. They could always use a few more people to chat with. I'll try to jump in the chat if I remember. But thanks for everybody that helped, hung out, just watched me do stuff. Hopefully the new camera angle was somewhat interesting. And we'll try it again tomorrow. I'll see ya. I have never made a Voron, but I will. Now go watch the Vort. All right, I will. See you guys. I'll see you.